Google Search Console is one of the most widely used SEO tools. It's a free tool offered by Google that allows SEO professionals and marketers to monitor their organic website traffic and see how Google crawls and interacts with their sites. But just how accurate is it? That's what you are about to find out. The click data in Google Search Console is pretty solid when you are looking at how individual pages are doing. I mean, you are getting real data on how users are interacting with your site from Google's search results. Those numbers can give you a good picture of your traffic or how specific pages are performing in search results. But here's the thing. If you look at individual query data, things are a bit trickier. Google samples query data for privacy reasons, so they don't record or share all data at the query level. This means that click data tends to be more accurate for queries that get lots of clicks because with more data points, the impact of sampling is minimized. But for queries that don't get as many clicks, you have to be more cautious, as the data might not be as precise. The impression data in Google Search Console is a key metric you can rely on because it's generally very accurate. This data comes straight from Google Search, so it captures exactly how often your website content appears in search results. Every time a page from your site appears in search, it counts as an impression, giving you a solid overview of how visible your content is across the board. However, it is essential to note that Google Search Console aims to provide as accurate and detailed data as possible within the bounds of privacy. They apply filters and sometimes aggregate data to prevent any kind of individual user behavior from being identifiable. But even with these safeguards, impressions data overall accuracy remains strong. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, please consider subscribing. Our goal at SEO Testing is to save you time so you spend less time pulling data into Excel and more time thinking about how to get more traffic from Google. Now, back to the video. When you look at the click-through rate data in Search Console, it's important to remember it's not always precise, as it can be affected by how Google samples query data. Here's the thing. While the click and impression data are generally spot on, the CTR relies on query data, and that's where sampling comes into play. Google doesn't necessarily record every single interaction for all queries. Instead, it uses a subset of that data to estimate an overall behavior, which can introduce some variability. This is especially noticeable with less popular queries, where the dataset is smaller and the CTR might not fully capture the exact user behavior. However, for high-volume queries where there's a lot of search activity, the CTR data tends to be much more reliable because the larger dataset provides a clearer picture. As a rule of thumb, the more searches a query gets, the more accurate the CTR data will be. The accuracy of the average position data in Google Search Console can vary a lot depending on the number of impressions a query receives. The average position data is generally accurate for queries that get a lot of traffic and plenty of impressions. The large volume of data helps smooth out any fluctuations, giving you a more stable and precise picture of where your site typically ranks in search results. But when it comes to queries with fewer impressions, the story changes. The accuracy of the data can be less reliable because of personalization factors in search results, as Google tailors what each user sees based on things like their search history, their location, and even the device they are using. Because of this, different users might see your website in different positions for the same query, leading to a wider spread in the reported average position. Now, let's talk about the differences between first-party and third-party data. When talking about first-party data, we are referring to information that comes straight from the source. It's data a company collects directly from customers or users through a website, mobile app, social media channels, or even surveys and customer feedback. This data is pure gold because it tends to be accurate, relevant, and trustworthy since it's gathered with consent. On the other hand, third-party data is gathered from external sources such as data providers, ad networks, or analytics services, and offers a broader view of trends and behaviors. This data can be useful, but often lacks the accuracy and direct relevance of first-party data. For example, Google Search Console offers first-party data. It comes directly from Google, showing how users interact with a website in search results. However, tools like Ahrefs or SEMrush, which aggregate data from various sources, provide third-party data. You might notice that your Google Search Console data doesn't match up with what you see in Google Analytics. This isn't a fluke. Instead, it's the result of several key differences in how each platform collects and reports data. The first reason for this is that Google Analytics relies on JavaScript to track user interactions. If someone visiting your site has JavaScript blocked, Google Analytics won't be able to record data. In contrast, Google Search Console collects data directly from Google servers, so it captures visits even if JavaScript is disabled. Another factor is privacy extensions like ad blockers. These tools often prevent Google Analytics from collecting data properly, leading to underreporting. While Google Search Console isn't affected by these browser settings, so its data is reliable even when ad blockers are used. Then there's Google Discover traffic. Google Analytics lumps Google Discover traffic in with other organic sources, so you won't see it broken out separately. But in Google Search Console, Discover traffic is shown on its own, giving you a clearer view of where your traffic is coming from. You will also see a difference in how quickly data is reported. Google Analytics gives you data in near real time, updating every few minutes, while Google Search Console is always a bit behind, usually by about 2 days. Sample data is another reason for the differences. Google Search Console uses sampling on some of its data. This means that the clicks you see for individual queries might not add up exactly to the total clicks reported for a page, because it's based on an aggregate of sampled data, not a full record of every single interaction. These differences can be frustrating, but understanding them helps you interpret the data more accurately. Now, if you want to make the most out of your Google Search Console data, use SEO testing to set up SEO tests and know what changes to your site increase traffic. We have a 14-day free trial for you to test it. Sign up using the link in the description. Thanks for watching.